Another quarterback's coming to Madison. Is this real life for Wisconsin fans? Let's talk about it. This is exciting times as Luke Fickell and this new staff comes in and they're continuing to just to flex their muscle at that quarterback position. Let's talk about it. Let's get your comments. Let's go on Wisconsin.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? It's an emergency podcast. These only drop when big news drops, and this to me qualifies as big news. But first, today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so news dropped. Wisconsin is not done adding to their quarterback room. We didn't think they would be, right? Because there's just no depth there. We kind of speculated maybe that's why Chase Wolf is coming back, because Brennan Armstrong, the potential Virginia commit, is going elsewhere. But news dropped from multiple sources. It's now in Sports Illustrated. It's on a couple other sites. It's on, I am remiss in remembering who broke it first, and I apologize for that. But Tanner Mordecai, SMU starting quarterback the last 2 years, is very likely headed to Madison to join this quarterback room. And let's just set the stage, and then we're going to get into your comments. I want to lead off with your comments in this show. And then I want to get into some of my thoughts on this and what's happened here and how quickly Luke Fickell has moved to revamp this quarterback room. Think about where this quarterback room was 5 months ago, and then think about where it is now with the 2024 kid committed as well, by the way, who isn't even here. I mean, it's remarkable what they've done in literally 4 weeks. It's insane. So let's set the stage here, and then I want to get into your comments. That's where we're going to lead with today with your comments. So Tanner Mordecai was a 4-star high school recruit, went to Oklahoma, was there for 3 years, transferred to SMU, has spent the last 2 years at SMU, kind of a 6'3" kid, athletic, really good arm, and he tore the world up at SMU. 39 touchdowns 2 years ago, 33 last year, over 3,500 yards each season. So statistically, in a wide open offense, but listen, that's what we're going to be running, right? Let me make one comment quickly because I want to jump in front of something that I've heard some people say where they're very dismissive of his numbers because they were at SMU in that SMU offense. Listen, that's the offense we're going to run here. I mean, it's not the exact same one, but it's very similar. A lot of shotgun, a lot of RPO, 3-4 receivers, spread it out, push the ball downfield. A lot of that is what Phil Longo wants to do. So people shouldn't be so quick to kind of dismiss what he did at SMU because it was in a wide open system in a quarterback friendly offense. First of all, you see a lot of quarterbacks fail in quarterback friendly offenses. You still need a good quarterback to put up big numbers. It doesn't matter what the offense is. Okay. But second of all, that's what Phil Longo wants to run. So this is big. Let's get into your comments. Let's start here. Mark Smo says, let's go. I definitely am there for that one. Zach Bartz says Mordecai threw for 7,100 yards, 72 touchdowns, 22 picks, 60% completion percentage in 2 years at SMU. Against Houston this season, Mordecai threw 9 touchdown passes. Yeah, so there was a game this year. It was Houston, SMU, that was ridiculous. Both offenses went up and down the field. In that game, Mordecai threw 9 touchdown passes in that game. Absolutely insane stuff. Brian Shetty says, what the heck is going on out here? This is great to see. Yeah, like this, I don't know how as a Wisconsin fan to adjust to this. This is what like it feels to be a fan of a blue blood program. This has been a feeding frenzy at quarterback, and I tip your cap to Luke Fickell and his staff, Phil Longo. You really have to tip your cap to them because they hit the ground running, and they've completely remade that quarterback room. So I'm excited for it. Brent McDonald, by the way, thank you everyone for the comments, for jumping on this emergency pod. Always count on people from the community, from the Locked On community, jumping onto these shows, which I think is awesome, and I appreciate y'all. Brent McDonald says, Mordecai and Evers are very close friends. That's interesting to me. Have the same trainer, train together often. Here's your Evers attracting other talent example. Funny it's another quarterback, but it totally checks out. No, that's fascinating, Brendan. Thank you for bringing that up to the show. I had no idea. Now, they both went to Oklahoma, so it makes sense that there's some connections there. But it is very interesting, right, that maybe Nick Evers actually played a part in bringing Tanner on board as another Oklahoma guy, especially if they train together, they work out together. And again, like Tanner's coming in for a 1 year. Excuse me. He's coming in as that veteran. And this is why I really wanted Brennan Armstrong, right? I wanted a veteran quarterback in this room because we don't know if Evers is ready. Quite frankly, we don't even know if Evers is going to hit. A lot of young quarterbacks don't. and I don't want to go into next year with all my baskets in a young quarterback. Now, this is the perfect world, y'all. Now we have an established guy. And by the way, this is a real quarterback. This is a player who thought he was potentially going pro this year. Now he's kind of on that fringe sixth, seventh round undrafted free agent, kind of in that periphery, which is why he's probably coming to Madison to improve that draft stock. But this is a real quarterback. You bring him in for a year, he's the bridge, and then it's Evers, LaCrue, Marbury, all those people battling for that spot in 2024. It's phenomenal. I love it. Brady Steinberg says Longo also recruited Mordecai when he was the OC at Ole Miss. So there's your connection. Longo, again, we talked about Longo's going to bring in talent. And we didn't really directly connect the dots, right? But think about all the quarterbacks. That's a great point, Brady. Think about all the quarterbacks Longo has been in contact with over the last several years recruiting, either at Ole Miss or UNC. He has connections to a lot of quarterbacks so that when they go in the portal, he's already done evaluations on them, right? He's already done an evaluation on Mordecai because he's recruited him. This was probably an easy pull for him, just at least in terms of telling Luke Fickell, like, yeah, this is a guy that I can roll with. I believe in his talent. I believe he can be productive in my system. I recruited him when I was at Ole Miss. That's a great point, Brady. I love it. Mason Sansala says McIntosh hiring Fickell is incredibly fantastic, but I think Fickell poaching Phil Longo away from UNC and other potential head coaching jobs maybe will put this team over the top. Yeah, I mean, the dominoes had to fall in that order, right? You had to get Fickell before you'd get a Longo. Longo specifically talked about wanting to work with Fickell, the attraction there, because he admired him from afar. But yeah, the hiring of Phil Longo looks like a potential coup. It looks like a potential master stroke for Luke Fickell. Now we got to see what happens, right? Again, all this has to play out on the field, but I talked about it before. Not everybody wins the honeymoon phase. Luke Fickell is crushing the honeymoon phase right now. Let's keep it going. Yex says our Texas quarterback pipeline is being established before our eyes. Definitely Texas, but I would remove even the Texas out of it and just say our quarterback pipeline, right? Because it's getting in on all of these players and it's being attractive to quarterbacks in general. I've been on record as saying Cole LaCrue's a big time get too. Like, I think he's a real talent, and that's somebody John Garcia Jr. said has maybe the highest upside in our last recruiting class. So I think our quarterback pipeline is being established, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment. Really, what has happened in this quarterback room, really in the last couple of weeks, and how amazing it is. But let's keep going with these comments. Benson Smooth 24 says, imagine DK with a quarterback and hit him in stride. This guy's a real quarterback. Like, he has an NFL-ish arm. He can make all the throws. He's mobile. He's a 4.65-ish guy is what he's listed at. If you watch the film, you can really see him move. He gets out of the pocket, throws well in the run. He's not a perfect player by any stretch. Interceptions are a little high. The footwork is the footwork and the release look a little choppy. But again, I'm not a quarterback coach. I'm not going to pretend to try to break down that film. One of the things we never do on this show is try to blow smoke. Like, that's not my area of expertise. But he checks a lot of boxes. So yeah, Benson, man, I think all the receivers, Team Ray, in that group are going to be excited about the weapons coming in. Weapons X242 just says, hi, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining us. And I'm just taking these in order, y'all. I'll take as much of them as I can before I have to jump into the next segment. Let's see. Steve Mitchell says, now that quarterback room is filled, maybe a punter and a defensive tackle. Yeah, I got to think if they don't take a punter, this transfer portal, they think Gavin Meyer can be the guy. And I'm certainly going to trust their judgment on that. They're seeing these guys in practice. But you got to get an interior defensive lineman. I actually thought Gio Paez flashed against Oklahoma State quite a bit. I like Curtis Neal as an upside guy, but I think you have to bring in another defensive lineman. Totally with you there, Steve. Logan Cowich says we have our potential starting quarterback now. Yeah, I wouldn't even say potential. Like, we have our starting quarterback now, period. I would seriously say, barring something crazy, we have our starting quarterback now, period. And it's awesome because he's a real quarterback. He threw for 39 touchdowns 2 years ago. And again, people are going to dismiss that and say, SMU's offense is geared towards that. He's playing poor competition. But he's also playing with SMU level players, right? And he's in a system that is going to be very similar to Phil Longo. So the system's going to translate. Like, he excelled in a system that we're going to be playing. Like, that makes so much sense that you shouldn't complain about it. And the skill level, sure, but he also wasn't playing with a Braylon Allen, right? And multiple offensive linemen that are 4 and 5 star guys. So his surrounding cast gets better as well. It's not just it's not just as simple as saying, well, he's not going to do it again because he's not SMU. He's not going to throw for 39 touchdowns, but he's going to be playing in the same type of system, y'all. All right, let's keep going. Try Glasson says better to have too much talent than to have too little talent. Yeah, and I would just throw the caution flag out there. Excuse me, I gotta just cough really quick. Excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold. I would throw the caution flag out there. I don't even know if we have too much talent because again, young quarterbacks are so hard to bet on. That's why this pickup is so important to get a quarterback that has proven it, right? That has shown that he can be productive in this type of system. I mean, it's just such a big pickup for Luke Fickell and the staff to go into next year with that in their back pocket. Okay, we're going to take a very quick break, come back with some more of your comments and talk a little bit about where this quarterback room was to where it is now coming up on Locked On Badgers. But first, today's show is brought to you by the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration and NHTSA. We've talked about this a lot. Just be careful out there. Everyone needs to get home to where they're going. Everyone needs to be safe over the holidays. Be there with your family and your friends. If you're out having a few drinks and a few becomes too many, as the evening comes to an end, everyone has that thought in their head that I'm fine. I can make it home. It's no big deal. What are the odds you're going to get pulled over anyway? There's not that many cops out there, right? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up. Maybe you lose your license. You lose your job. You total your car. Maybe you kill somebody. Everybody knows the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic, often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on the road to save lives. If you think it's okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe, plan ahead, get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. I apologize. Still getting my voice back. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in to Locked On Badgers, making this one of your first listens every day. Really, really do appreciate y'all. This channel's growing, and again, it's because of the people in the community. And let's keep it going. Let's keep talking about this. So I want to start here and interject a little bit just to talk about the incredible transformation that this quarterback room has gone through. And then I want to get back into your comments. Think about, again, I said at the beginning, think about 4 months ago. You had Deacon Hill, Graham Mertz, Chase Wolf, Marshall Howe, and Miles Burkett. That was your quarterback room. And now think about what you have, right? You have Cole LeCroux coming in off a state title. And by the way, I think he's incredibly underrated. You have Miles Burkett coming after a freshman year where he impressed people. You have Nick Evers, the 4-star quarterback out of Oklahoma, coming in with multiple 4 years of eligibility left, right? You have Chase Wolf coming back as just kind of a veteran presence. Now you've added Tanner into this mix. Former 4-star quarterback, threw for 72 touchdowns the last 2 years. And in 2024, you have Marbury Medower, the 4-star quarterback out of Texas, coming in. I mean, just think about that. That's incredible. And people talked about when Luke Fickell came in, people talked about, can he really elevate this? What would that even look like? This is what it looks like, right? People wondered, well, could he even get to Chris level? There's a lot of cynicism out there with this hire. And I tried telling people, listen, be excited about this because he's going to put resources into recruiting and attack it with a vigor that Wisconsin has not seen in a long time. And that's not to dismiss what Paul Chryst did. And Paul Chryst had a couple incredible recruiting years. But this is a different type of thing. Stacking multiple 4-star level quarterbacks together, that's different. And that's what Luke Fickell's doing here. So be excited about it. And this transformation is incredible. Hopefully that's the last cough. All right, let's get some more comments here. And again, really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Dominic Shiro says, I have to say, Big Ten championship, maybe Rose Bowl. Agreed. Does Braylon Allen, Timothy Dresslin says, does Braylon Allen's speed concern anyone in this new offense? I don't think so. Not for me. He's never going to be a burner anyway, but he's going to have more room to run in this offense. And I think some of the indecisiveness we've seen with Braylon Allen is going to go away a little bit in this offense because he's going to have less people in the box. I think you're going to see a battering ram that's going to make it really hard for defenses to cover in space, right? Because they're going to have bigger linebackers, have to have people in the box to deal with Braylon. And those bigger linebackers are going to be susceptible in space to what Phil Longo is trying to do. So I actually think, it's going to really work well as long as Braylon stays healthy, which he has a history of kind of struggling with some nagging injuries. Bo Dragon says, how many 4-star quarterbacks does it make to make one good defensive lineman? There's Bo. There's the Bo we know and love. Oh, man. I might need to cut this short. My voice is going. Um, and rest assured, we're going to continue talking about this in the coming days. We'll get some people on the show to continue breaking it down. But I do want to finish off there. I got to go. I think my voice is dying, which is terrible. But I want to take a couple more comments here. We got a ton of them, and we're not going to get to them all. I apologize. But let's see. Ben Albin says, "Is he the expected starter? Evers backup? Is this the new normal?" So I wanted to take this really for that last comment because I've already talked about Ben. Thank you for the comment, by the way. He's the expected starter. He's not coming here unless he expects to start. I think that makes Evers a backup, but ideally, Evers is just a guy who can redshirt. He can grow for another year in the system, and then next year, that competition next year is going to be a dogfight. I wouldn't count out Miles Burkett. I wouldn't count out Nick Evers. I wouldn't count out Cole LaCrue. It is going to be a dogfight. So, yes, this is the expected starter. But that last part of the comment from Ben is interesting. Is this the new normal? Listen, I wouldn't expect multiple four-star-ish quarterbacks committing in 3 weeks to ever be the normal at Wisconsin. But I think going after high-level quarterbacks with Phil Longo is going to be the new normal, and you're going to see much more of it than we used to see in the past. So that's very interesting to me. Let's see, man. There are so many comments here. I'm not going to get to them all. Let's go. Jimmy Widemore says, "Let's go, destination quarterback U." I love it. Ryan Anderson, most importantly, Tanner has air raid experience. And that's a big part of this, right? We talked about already with Phil Longo's system. Tanner has experience in this system. Not his exact system, but there's a reason Phil Longo looked at this quarterback. There's a reason he's excelled at SMU. There's a reason they're bringing him in right now. They think that this guy can come in. They can plug him into the driver's seat, buckle that seatbelt, and let him drive the car. And Nick Evers can sit in the back in a child's seat, and Cole LaCrue and all those guys can just kind of watch and learn for a year and then take over. Like this is going to be kind of an assembly line here, right? If it all goes according to plan, which, listen, that doesn't always happen, but it's a year of Tanner running this offense, and then next year you're just plugging in Nick Evers potentially, or Cole LaCrue, or Miles Burkett. So, yeah, it's going to be really exciting to watch this progress. I'm going to wrap it up there before my voice really goes. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. Wanted to get this show out there. Basketball tomorrow, but we're going to talk about this more tomorrow. We'll also get John Garcia Jr. on to talk about it. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in on Wisconsin, and let's keep it going.